Hey, what's up, guys? It's me again, and today we're going to be going over another video. Today we're going to be going over 11 reasons why young people no value work, or 11 reasons why young people no longer value work. Okay, so let's get right into this, guys. Um, so America's love affair with capitalism is coming to a close. Younger generations scoff at the predatory system, no longer believing it's the key to happy people in a booming economy. Here are the top reasons younger workers don't care about the work like their elders do. And I actually agree. Even me as a younger person, I mean, the working environment sucks. Some of us younger people deal with really shitty treatment. Some of us are getting treated like crap. And maybe some of the things they did to the older generations, they didn't do to us. So, like, older people definitely got it better. So, that's the one thing I'd like to say right from the start. Stagnant wages. Our wages aren't going up for the inflation. I'm going to leave it at that. There's no loyalty. Companies demand loyalty, but the workers don't get the same respect, and they'll just throw you out the door. But they're basically demanding that you show up every day on time. But then next thing you know, they just fire you on the drop of a hat. They'll just fire you for no reason. So it's like I have to show up for work every day, but then when the boss doesn't want you, that's like fuck you. And it's like for some reason that makes you look bad almost in every instance, and the boss looks good no matter what. Like they have that whole system rigged to where like you show up every day or otherwise you're a bad employee. Well, then I'm firing you on the drop of a hat. Like I'm a good employer, and that makes no sense. There's no loyalty. Toxic bosses. You deal with employer abuse and really nasty bosses that are toxic. You got bosses that have really nasty, toxic personalities. You know what I mean? People that shit talk, they think their shit doesn't steal. I mean, worse customers. You gotta deal with terrible customers. It feels like sometimes these jobs are pointless, and sometimes I just swear to God there could have been something more important, and they just stick you in the corner with a broom, and they have you pushing a broom in the corner. It feels like sometimes your jobs are pointless. There's always opportunity elsewhere, and you could always get a job somewhere else, and I agree with that. I feel like that's something that really makes people uninterested in work, especially when there's opportunities that you're not getting, but other people are getting them. So it really makes work uninteresting because I feel like some people get the favoritism treatment, and some of us are doing shittier, harder jobs than other people, and we're getting less pay than them, and it makes work less meaningful. It makes you look at your own job like I'm getting paid less money than other people are getting paid, and they do less work than me, and you do more work, and then you get treated like shit. And I feel like that's something where the opportunity elsewhere is something. No retirement. I feel like no retirement's a big thing because half these jobs you'll never be able to retire on because they won't be able to give you a stable wage to retire on. Climate wars. Between climate and then like robots, I mean, a lot of us don't feel like we're going to have jobs in the future no matter what. So um, like it's just one of those things where it makes these jobs uninteresting because it's like you're sitting there wondering like how long am I even going to be able to work here or do any one position before I get replaced by automated machines. So I feel like that's something why work's kind of like just like what's the point? It's pointless. Like it feels like why are we even trying to work when robots are going to replace us? It's kind of depressing in a way. And it's explorative. Work is no longer mutually beneficial arrangement. The companies exploit their workers, paying far less than they're worth and expecting to be available at their back and call. And that's literally what it's like. I mean, it's like I'm basically a fucking whipping slave, but at the same time, I'm getting exploited the whole time. And yeah, exactly, that's how it is. And then corporate culture. Um, Yeah, exactly. Like older millennials were enticed by fun corporate offerings. These perks are no longer cut. Now workers want real change. And I feel like half the corporate culture is just garbage and depressing. Not worth the younger generations look at the totality or the totally of the situation it comes with and apt conclusion. It's not worth it. And I agree, a lot of these jobs aren't worth it. You don't get high enough pay. Which talks to me about how I personally think people in the Gen Z millennial generation are going to survive in the future. My personal battle plan for survival in the future is just if you really want to get ahead as a middle class millennial or a Gen Zer, my personal recommendation is to be as cheap as possible, to be as frugal as possible, try to spend as little much money as possible, and like for me to like in my recommendation, if you're really trying to stay stable, save as much money as possible. Don't spend any of your money. Jump job to job or work as much as you can. Save up all your money because sometimes you might go without income for 6 months or 7 months, 8 months once you move out, and it's really hard to stay afloat when you're going a couple months here and there without work. So my personal recommendation is just to 100% save up all that money, live in the cheapest apartments possible, and stuff like that. And I'm gonna go over a whole list of stuff. So here I'm gonna go over some of them, like some of my ideas and how to like survive this new generation and all this bullshit. So I'm gonna move my face to the bottom here. And number one, I'd say unsubscribe from streaming services. There isn't one streaming service that you need. The only thing you need is the internet. And like for streaming services, if you need to use certain stuff for entertainment, you can use like 123 movies in the Pirate Bay, kick ass torrents. Like 123 movies is like a really good one. But all I'm saying is you can sit there and just like watch stuff and not pay for it, or you could use YouTube. So like you don't really need to be paying for streaming services and subscriptions and everything. Like you don't need Pandora Plus. You could illegally download the music. So any YouTube premium, anything, like you don't need to pay for it. So unsubscribe for all that stuff. The only thing I'd probably recommend paying for would be like Xbox Live, like the gold, but that's it. And the only reason why is because if you play Xbox, you play like PlayStation Network. If you buy PSN Live or whatever, I wouldn't blame you, just so you can play live, because that's a cheap way to entertain yourself. But that's kind of about as far as I would go for some of you guys. And then choose cheaper options from the grocery stores, like great value options, and that's self-explanatory. Just get all the generic stuff and be as cheap as possible. Use cheaper phone services such as Net10 or TracFones. And I highly recommend that some of you guys cheapen up your phones. Some of you guys I know spend at least $100 or $200 a month on your phones, and you don't have to do that. If you're like me, you just get like one of those unlocked phones, and then you get like Net10 or TracFone or whatever, and you pay like $10-$20 a month. It's cheap as fuck. It works. Unlimited calls, texts. I mean, some of you guys don't even use your phones enough to even justify having iPhones or to even spend all that money, so I would get TracFones, cheaper phone services. Number 4, buy used clothes. I mean, used clothes isn't even really like noticeable. No one knows if it's used or not used. I mean, if you ever listen to the song like Thrift Shop, it's pretty self-explanatory that you could be swagged out with some used clothes. So don't let people sit there and tell you need like all this new shit. Like, I mean, I feel like with the trends, some people want to fit in with the trends, and I feel like that's just one of the things you get sold on. You're getting robbed by like your dress style, your appearance. You could look just fine with used clothes and cheaper clothes options. Like you could spend like $200 on a brand new set of clothes. You could spend like $10 on a set of clothes from Goodwill. You know what I mean? So definitely would recommend buying cheaper clothes. And then when at all possible, buy bulk items to reduce trips and save money. So if you were smart, try to spend like $200-$300 in groceries all at once and buy as many groceries items as possible. Like buy some chickens and freeze them. Get like 20 different pizzas and get like a whole bunch of macaroni. Buy some hamburgers, some sausage, some everything. Like buy as many things that you can reasonably store that won't perish, and so you can make as little trips as possible, because the less trips you make, the better, because you're less likely to get pulled over, and you're less likely to end up in car accidents, and you're less likely to burn extra gas, and like you're just better off to reduce all your trips and to save as much money as possible. And then buy bulk items, because normally buying the bigger option or the bigger item, you get like a lower price per ounce and you save more money. So try to buy the bulk items more often if you can. And drive used cars and do your own maintenance. Like if you're like me, buy a used car, work on it yourself. You can watch YouTube videos to learn how to change out old parts and stuff. And so it's smart because you can learn everything you need to learn online. And sometimes if you're smart, you just take it to the auto mechanic and ask them what's wrong with it. They might tell you what's wrong with it. They'll tell you how much it costs to fix it. But if you're smart, maybe you bring it to the auto mechanic, you figure out what's wrong with it, and then you do the work yourself. And then avoid unnecessary purchases. Stop paying for things you don't need, like those $1, like remember when you're playing like a phone app and it asks you like micro payments. Stop paying for micro payments. Stop buying stuff at the gas station you don't need. Stop buying stuff you don't need. Just unnecessary purchases. Like if you don't literally essentially need it, don't buy it. Avoid drinking at pubs, eating at restaurants, and I mean it. Just like pubs, or what do you call them, bars, are very, very, very wasteful, and I would say that you're spending at least twice the amount on an alcoholic beverage there. So I'd say don't do that. You're wasting all your money when you could just sit at the home with the bros and you could just sit there and chill with your homies. So that's exactly what I would recommend doing. and then you could cook your own food. You don't need to eat at restaurants. And then this also includes packing your own lunch for work and other occasions. Like you could pack your own lunch and make your own sandwiches and stuff. Like some people eat like those expensive sandwiches out of those work vending machines, and you should avoid those. That's a waste of money. You shouldn't eat at the gas stations or anything. That's a waste of money. Do outdoor activities that cost no money. Entertain yourself in ways that cost no money or very little money. This could include hunting. Hunting is a way to get free food. Fishing is a way to get free food. So that's very smart activity. But on top of that, outdoor activities normally don't cost anything. Like if you just hop in the water, go for a swim, that doesn't cost anything. Going for a run doesn't cost any money. Like, playing outside, throwing a football around doesn't cost any money. So try to entertain yourself with things that don't cost no money. Try to get out of these ideas that you need to go places that cost money, like clubs and all that shit. Use rechargeable batteries and reusable items to save money. And an example of reusable items would be reusable water bottles. So try to always use reusable everything, reusable batteries, it's cheaper. Reusable water bottles, so you don't have to sit there and spend all that money on water bottles, because the water bottles are a scam. Bottled water is a scam, so don't buy into it. I would only say bottled water is worth it if you're going camping, or like you need water like really far away from a source of it. But don't drink bottled water acting like it's all special. It's just water in a bottle. Okay. You use auto parts and go to scrap yards or order tires online. And this is a thing that's a pro tip. I wish I knew this when I was younger, but you can literally get parts that'll work on your used car that are like pulled from old junk cars that'll work just fine on your vehicle. And you can get these parts for like 1/4 of the price, 1/10 of the price. Sometimes you can get parts for vehicles that are so cheap because you go to scrap yards, you go to Pick and Pull, you go to like U-Tire, because you can buy used tires, used windshields, used engine parts, used everything. So that's something I really like to pass on. And then regularly brush your teeth. Cost of dental care is significant in the United States. So brushing your teeth regularly sounds like something that you'd already know how to do, but some people don't. And I'm telling you, if you don't care about your teeth, you should care about your teeth, because if you're poor, it's going to cost a lot of money for fucking dentures, and it's going to cost a lot of money to get your teeth fixed. So do brush your teeth, use fluoride mouthwash, floss them motherfuckers. Yeah. And then in general, be more frugal with options that you pick. When it comes down to purchasing electronics or other high demand devices, try to go for the economic options. Like for example, I got I think there's like the i8 Galaxy Tab i8, and I bought the i6, and it works just fine. And there's a lot of people where you could just be sitting there and just get the cheaper options. Be more frugal. You don't gotta live like the Joneses. Like, that's just something you don't gotta do. Stop trying to live paycheck to paycheck. Stop trying to blow all your money. And I almost want to put a 14th option, which is like here. I'm gonna put a 14th option right before your very eyes, because I'm gonna move my face up here. Yep. Okay. So my 14th option would be to live in smaller apartments or live in smaller spots than you need to live in. So say like you need to think of the essential space that you need to live in. I would say live in the smallest house possible. And the only reason why is because you want to live in the smallest house that you could use, because floor space is expensive, housing is getting expensive, and you want to live in the smallest, cheapest house possible. The bigger the house you have, the more space you have, the more it's going to cost in utilities and heating. And if you have space that's going to waste, you might be paying money that you don't need to pay. So think of like the bare minimum amount of space that you need. I live in like a 1-bedroom apartment. It's like the size of a closet, and I don't pay very much money for it. But then some of you guys are probably paying upwards of $1,000 a month for a full-size house, and you don't need a full-size house. All you need is one little bedroom apartment to live in. So a lot of you guys could save money by living in smaller houses, or you could team up and have multiple people live in the same house. But I'm saying some of you guys just don't do very intelligent housing arrangements, so you should be thinking of like, how close am I to my job, and how much does it cost, and is there more affordable options, and how much bare minimum space do you need? And you should be thinking like critically about that. Don't think with because you could get rid of some of your stuff, or you could rearrange some of your stuff, or you could buy new things. So you don't need very much space. Like you could live in an RV trailer. I used to live in an RV park. And if you actually know what a recreational vehicle is, those things are like those like camper trailers you pull behind a pickup truck. I used to live in one of those for a couple of years. Like, you don't need very much space to live in. That's really cheap living. So maybe you don't even want to live in a one-bedroom apartment. Maybe you want to live in one of those recreational vehicle parks that they have down south, because they have those down in Georgia and Florida. You can live even cheaper than you can live up north, because, right now I live in an apartment. But so there's a lot of really cheap options if you're really trying to stay ahead as a millennial and Gen Zer. I mean, I think the only other option, like number 15, I'd put is self-defend yourself. Don't let people rob you. So number 15, I'd say self-defense. It's hard to keep money in your pocket when you're willing to just hand all your money over. I grew up in the street, and that's one thing I forgot, which is you should actually keep your money in your pockets. Learn how to fist fight. Learn how to defend yourself. Carry a gun if you got it, if you're old. But don't hand your money over. And, so I think this is the ultimate way to save money and to get ahead as Gen Z or millennial. I just wanted to talk about this because I feel like with the way like jobs are and like how jobs are 100%, no longer valued and they're garbage. I want to say that you should value the little bit of money you're going to get throughout this horrible, miserable life. So, like always, guys, thanks for watching. I saved you guys a lot of money if you paid attention to me, so please donate to my Cash App below. Comment, rate, and subscribe. And like always, guys, thanks for watching. Peace out.